Anyways, yeah, you guys can pretty much start flooding us with questions. We could probably kickstart this off with how do you start pen spinning or pen modding is the best question.
Yeah,
And
the first
I will go ahead and let
one.
VORE-TEX, our guest today, start off.
So I can start now.
Yeah, you can. I think it's fine. You can start. I don't know how you got into it.
Okay. Uh, so I started in 2008, September, September 2008, and in middle school. At the first, I started because my big sister did it. The first three. This and this, the rivers and the Sandpaper, and I was so amazed by this. So I wanted my sister teach me.
Oh,
So
your
she teach
sister
me.
actually taught you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's really cool, actually.
Well, she didn't know it was pen spinning. Just know the, she just knew the
Like the
basic
basics?
trick.
Yeah.
Yeah. And after some years with some classmates, we found out on YouTube it was actually pen spinning.
Did you
So
like
we
find
started.
out like there was a whole board like by accident, like FPSP?
FPSB, actually, I came in FPSB 7 months after starting pen spinning because I thought it was useless.
Oh,
I just wanted at the time. I just wanted to learn pen spinning, learn tricks, and I didn't know the real use. So real, if I didn't know community can be useful.
um,
So
I guess a lot of people might ask is like, when did you decide that you would rather mod than spin? I feel like most people get into spinning first, and then
yeah, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
yeah.
And actually, I just sing in FPSB a night because I was bored. I didn't know what to do and say, oh, I will try to go inside and see what happened.
And then that's how he grew his name. Literally the most famous pen crafter in the entire world. Or I guess pen modder. Um, I guess for me it was actually kind of funny. I wasn't like actively searching for it. It was one of Cam's commercials, and I kind of knew about like spinning because of actually my parents know like the basic like thumb around reverse harmonic, and then that was
That's,
really it.
yeah,
And that was when I finally was my parents were okay with me having a laptop, and I kind of just pondered into like pen spinning in general. And it started off actually with like charge with a drumstick, and then it just led me down to like pen spinning stuff, and I just slowly started to learn. I made my first victory, I want to say. It wasn't even a victory actually. I think my first mod was, yeah, my mom knew about pen spinning cuz one of her friends like kind of did it when she was in college, and then I'm 99% sure that my first mod that I used was actually a chopstick. A metal one though. Paul, thank you for the follow.
yeah,
Welcome.
I see. I think my
Um,
first one was just a marker, DC marker with some random grip from advertising pens. And I remember I just paint after some months and just paint barrel in violet and the grip was green. It was very, very cool. I was so proud of this. It was maybe 12 years before.
I think when I first made my victory, you know how you take the back plug and then like you make it as a DC with the ink. for
Yeah.
whatever reason, like I was when I first learned about it, I was like, holy crap, I would have never thought about that. And it was like the most amazing thing. And I was proud of like my first victory too. It was like crazy. Um yeah, it was funny. I guess one of the better questions is when did you decide that because most people like to spin first, when did you decide that like you enjoyed making pens more, I guess? Because that was, I'm not even sure if I have a specific turning point of when I
Mm,
decided, oh, I would rather, like, making pens is much more fun than, you know.
yeah. I'm not sure either. Mm, I think you can decide. Can decide. You just it happened, and you just discover by yourself. Oh, from all this time, I prefer making mods than spinning them.
I feel
I
like
think you can.
mine's. Oh no, go ahead.
Yeah. Maybe I start feeling these when I start making a series and when I lose the beginner tournament in phase B. And when you lose a tournament, it was the first round. When you lose a tournament, it's very a feeling like, oh, I don't really want to focus on spinning anymore. I just want to try making paint because it looks more fun.
Um, I think my turning point was actually it was even before Manoa got popular, and it was believe it or not, a lot of people might be surprised by this. Me and Hobby Logics used to hang, like we used to like talk on Skype all the time with like one other friend, and Hobby was just way more into spinning than I was, and I was really fortunate. Like my mom just saw that like I really oddly like to make pens because I've always really liked to do things with like my hands or like build stuff like Legos or like even like when I built my first computer. She
Mm,
really supported like when like not all the time, but whenever there were like pens if they were on sale and stuff and I wanted it, she would buy it. And I feel like part of it like reinforced the idea that um it helped me like get a good starting foundation to making pens
mm,
because for everyone that starts like getting enough parts is really hard.
yeah,
And the more I like hung out with Hobby and I've realized he was just that much better than me at spinning and I had been around longer. I think I was around longer in UPSB. I just didn't say much. I forget specifically, but I do remember I'm pretty sure that I was around longer than him.
yeah.
And then it was just kind of sad because I tried to finally post a video and I didn't have like a proper webcam or setup and stuff. And I tried
Oh
to
yeah,
film with my phone, or it wasn't even my phone. It was like a really bad Android tablet. People were like talking about how bad the quality was, and actually, people at school thought some of my pens looked really cool. Actually, some of my pens have been stolen in high school and middle school multiple times,
mm,
and that's around the time when um I realized that I just wasn't that good at spinning and I didn't know why cuz most of spinning is just really really practicing a lot again and again and again, which when you watch someone do it in a video it's like right there. It's like pre-recorded. It's like perfect and you never see behind the scene like especially
yeah.
when you're younger how much work someone puts into just anything. And that's when I just gave up and I was just like I think I'm just gonna make puns because I was enjoying like being able to express my creativity side in a sense too, for sure.
Mm.
But that's definitely one of them. Um, does anyone in the chat have any like questions per se? I'm totally down with like taking live questions, or we could totally just go off the list that I have. But I don't mind either or. And then just ahead of time, 50 Snakes, thank you for the follow. Get ready for your interview later. What? Sexy is basically how it said. Swap, thank you for the follow. Everyone, thank you for the follow. Welcome if you are just tuning in. We're just going through a handful of questions, but what would be something that what's something about modding that like attracts you to like staying there in a sense, like being able to like express how creative you can be, or like being innovative.
You mean why I like pen modding?
Yeah.
Mm, I I think because we can do we can think like a pen. Even what can I say? Like the engineer who or designer who creating, invented, making the pens, they think like this is a final product. But for us, it's not the final product. It's just the stuff like for a table, the wood is the stuff, the basic stuff. And for pen mod, paint, uh, which should be um, the final stuff. You just make them like a basic stuff, and I feel it's very funny to do what you want and not think an object have to be like this. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know
actually
if
I get that
you.
actually. I think my reason might be a little more simpler. It's just I like being able to actually when in high school it was different, but it's changed since I've been out of school around other people. It used to be just so that other people would be like amazed by my like creation. And I know some people were just more interested in like my spinning per se,
Yeah.
but now for sure it's definitely more of like I think I developed. Some people might ask like what a modding style might be, and I feel like I don't know. Do you have a modding style maybe? Because I feel like when I started switching and realizing why I liked making pens was because I liked modding in like a really like flashy, like bright colors, like
Mm. Yeah.
hard to pick colors like silver or like those kind of colors.
Yeah.
That's for me.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh, Swap has a question for you. Where did you find the inspiration for, I guess, some of your mods? You have a ton of mods too.
Uh, I will ask you, can you be more precise about which kind of pen mod? Because I think you have two different kind of modding. You have the artistic one, or you just find an idea and you apply it. But also you have the design modding, where here the inspiration is not about the idea, but the inspiration is the need, one need. For example, recently this week I made this pen. Maybe you saw it on Discord or Instagram, and inspiration of this one, more particularly about the barrel, where I just basically take a cacao. So cacao has a little bit rub
Like a
barrel, and
grippy
then just
body, like Stology.
yeah, and then just sand it together very bright and remove all the raw texture. And this inspiration is really about what I need for the gear I want to spin. Because when the spinner came to me and asked, I want a full blue Nebraska mod, the one who Jersey spun for the World Tournament, I was thinking which body, which barrel, which long barrel I have in my stuff. And I was thinking, oh, I got a Kaku green, but the guy hates the texture, the surface of the Kaku green. So I was just thinking how to transform the barrel, the surface of the Kaku green, and something different. And I was just thinking, oh, I just have to remove it by sanding. And this is most of the time how I work. Since my gears is not very artistic, but it's more since maybe 2015, I try to make pen mods for a need. And also this one, I didn't release how to make it yet, but I can show you. This is a light minor VTG mod I invented. And I try to make it lighter with almost the same weight distribution. So I just take a lighter tips and inverted it to make the feeling heavier. And at the same time, I try to add some weight inside the connector. And basically, this is just, I just add big, no, so it's not big. Inside the big barrel, I just add a super tip back cap part here. So the coloring, the color part inside is to put the waste distribution more at the center so we can feel more easy to spin.
Like the center of gravity has like it change. I think a lot of people. This is a good like topic shift. I feel like a lot of people don't understand center of gravity and center of pen in modding, especially. I don't know if you agree.
Yeah. Also, the structure of the tips. So this is basically a USB back plug with ADT tips inside. Okay. So you have ADT tips, a USB back plug, and another part inside. I try to get it out. So this is wait.
Oh, in the meantime, thank you everyone that subscribed. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Ooks.
So it is a super T back plug. Just take.
Oh, okay.
Here. And this is going to be on like this. So the ADT tip is locked inside.
Oh, okay.
And
That's really
I just have to put it inside. And I just leave some enable grip inside so I can be sure the tip won't make noise. And this is how I make it.
That's really interesting, actually.
I'm still answering about the inspiration question. So here, inspiration is what I need, and is more about what is the issue in making. I actually put this little the blue part of super tip back plug. I use it because the issue was the ADT tip, because if I don't use a backplug, the edgy tip just fall down and everything is like fucked up. This is why I use it.
I think the construction's really unique, honestly. I wouldn't have thought of that. I think there were a couple other questions. Oh, 50 Snake says, how does judging work when FPSB has a modding competition? I'm not sure how to answer that one. I'm not
It was
sure.
before, a long time ago.
Not sure. You might have to be a little bit more specific.
I'm not really sure to understand the question.
Yeah. Is
the criteria for the tournament I organized some years ago. The concept of this tournament was I was trying to make a tournament, so very beginner model. The beginner model can win the tournament, because I was a bit bored to always see the same people win. So I try to think about very easy criteria, like the name, picture, how you choose a name, how you make the picture, sometimes the explanation, and also one of the most important criteria I was giving, I don't know how to say in English. It's like a minimal weight and a maximum weight. Like you have to make a DC pen mode between 20 and 20.5 centimeters with maybe 40 and 40.5 grams. And if you don't succeed to go in, if you make something heavier or something longer, you lose point. And if you succeed to be at the very middle, you can be more effective in the tournament. So yeah, I think it was most of the main criteria in the tournament. I hope I was enough understandable for the question.
Let's see. Here's a really quick one. Do you have any favorite color combinations?
Yeah. Personally, I love black and silver.
Oh, really? Like this?
I just found out it is recently, maybe some weeks ago. I really love this kind of color scheme. Sorry. But if you take a look at my Instagram page, you will see a lot of blue, white, blue, black, red, black, red, white. This is more because I want to attract people. This is not because I like, but because I know people will be able to like it more.
Yeah,
so I can get
I feel that one. Because even when for non-spinners, like a pen like my personal Silver G3, it'll catch your attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like for my personal KT, the colors, I agree the colors are very weird with the cap. I like it, but most people don't really pay attention of it, because one is pastel yellow and the other is beige. And very ugly color. But if I try to make it maybe white blue, people can feel more, wow, I want this pen.
Yeah. I think mine has always evolved around a character that I really like, but general color combinations. I always use sky blue and pink, and I want to say it got old when people always call it Manoa's color scheme, for sure.
Mm, yeah.
And I wanted to branch out to be more unique, and I tried to choose teal, which happened teal or sky blue only, which happened to be one of my favorite characters, like color. And then most people can probably guess now why mine's red and purple because of a character. But I feel like the more I've stared at color combinations, the more I've become okay with like even colors I didn't like before. Because believe it or not, I really don't like purple for the longest time, and now it's everywhere.
Mm. Recently, I like violet, black violet. I think it's
Yeah.
very cool one.
The hell no. Um. Oh, this is a good one for Mono. What are the best pens you've gotten in a trade?
Mm,
I know this one personally, actually, so I can go first if you want to think about it.
you mean for you?
Yeah,
You
I know
know?
mine. I know for sure. This might come
Mm,
as a crazy surprise, but my first watercolor and my first um actually my first watercolor, my first persons, and my first sweet
mm,
drop came from Dice.
ah,
And
uh,
some of them weren't trades. Some of them were just basically gifts.
I think when I trade with Siphon, just Siphon, yeah, Siphon, I made for him a white bullet mod, and he gave me a ton of freebie. He gave me Miffys and white watercolor as freebies. It was very crazy. I really didn't expect this kind of package. You can find all the pins I got in my blog. It was the name of the article is a trade with Siphon.
Let's see. Oh, this one's a good one. What was the most frustrating modding experience? Oh, I could name a ton.
Not so much. Maybe. Oh yeah, when I try, I think it was the last time, the last week. Um, I tried to, I tried to sculpting every VP cap and try to plug the small color part of the hyperdraw cap, but I failed. I spent like maybe the whole
Oh,
day to scratch the RSVP cap, and I didn't success. And this is kind of research in pen modeling who can make you lose the motivation. Um, a very hard one, maybe Kuzu G3 with clip with uh, grip cut. I'm very bad at this. That's why I never do it because I don't have a passion, and sometimes this blade is just moving by himself and just fucked up everything. Maybe you know this feeling when
I
you.
do. I think it wasn't. I wouldn't say it's my most frustrating one, but I have cut one of I think Denson's snowflake designs before, and I like slipped and I was at the end. I wasn't very frustrated. I think the most memorable one is This might come as a very big shock to a lot of people, and a lot of people might not know this pen. There's actually two pens. I've always actually very much looked up to Cam and his modding, and then a good chunk, like a good variety of Neptune's mods. And so there was a mod called the Cipher Mod, and when you look through the images, if you can manage to find it, the body is actually made out of AAA battery shells. And trust me, I actually cut AAA battery shells. Like I have it somewhere in my room, like to the left of me somewhere.
Yeah,
And that was I was so afraid too because I didn't want the battery to explode on me.
mm,
And I wanted to like replicate it because I don't know, I've always looked up to Cam's modding, and then when I was making Neptune's Chimera mod, the
yeah,
front the very front spring part, when you watch his
mhm,
video, it just
yeah.
for I believe almost 5 plus years, possibly maybe 4 plus, I could not figure out how it just floated on top, like inside an RSVP cap. I just couldn't figure it out. And then years later, I seriously accidentally just figured it out. Like the mod came together like all together in like less than 24 hours. It was crazy.
Mm.
And that's how I replicated two of my most like iconic inspirations for inspiration to continue modding. Um oh, this one's from Coffee. What's your objective or goal in modding?
Um, mm, I think I want people believe more in craftsman pen mod, because I feel actually we are just artists who want to make pen mod when we want, and they don't believe in what we make. And I just
Mm.
want to prove some people can learn a theory about how to make good pen mod and propose it to pen spinner. Try. I want to let people know there are some people who can make pen mods better than us. I think is my main goal, and I
Mm.
think that's why I continue. I keep making a lot of pens for a lot of commission and a lot of customized pen mod for people. I think they need us
Like we
to
need
understand
what?
what we want.
Oh wait, like we need to understand what? I'm sorry.
I think they need to understand they need us because we know the theory, they don't know.
Oh yeah. I can agree with that. I think Dayon, welcome. My objective, I tend to have a lot of secret mods that I just never end up sharing. But I feel like whenever I've always made a pen, um I always want it to be universally adjustable and where it's like balanced, where anyone can spin it, even if it's an SC or a DC, which is kind of how the inspiration from like
Mm,
how sometimes it's just as simple as an inspiration as just like when I saw the front tip of like the metal guard of this, I just thought the pencil was really cool, and I told myself, I'm like, I think if I work hard enough or if I try to come up with an idea, I can make a pen out of it. And I actually did, and it took me almost over a year to make it. I prototyped it, but definitely my goal is to make something were all of the mods that I'm okay with releasing publicly, maybe eventually, if people ask me, is that everyone either will like it or not just for its looks, but spinning wise as well. That's definitely for sure. I guess for like my more oddly creative sided pens for like where the body changes color is more it's more for show. Just it's more of just like to express my creativity side. It's definitely not
Yeah,
something I would market purposefully per se. Cause that's let's see, where is it? It's where this mod came to be. Like this one.
yeah,
Yeah, that this set
yeah. I
came
remember
to
it.
be because you can actually change the weight. Every body can be different. I know a lot of people in the Discord server have heard about it. You just have to add more tips at the end. If you chose like an airfit tip, if you wanted it heavier, you can cut this body down, and it just I know it makes the mod kind of more complex, but I feel like when you become a intermediate spinner or a pretty good spinner, you should understand what length you want. Like I prefer 21.5 centimeters and like really
Mm.
heavyweight mods. So maybe my mods aren't as catered to like beginners, but it can be like very easily because of how fast I could make the adjustment for sure.
Mm. Mm. Yeah. But I think I'm very bad at making um, a single cap.
Fair and welcome.
Mm.
That's my admin. Thank you for gifted. um oh, this is a quick one. Do you have a preferred body thickness? I kind of don't actually. I really don't.
Mm, I think more like Kamsa.
Whoa, you really like Kamza? Okay, that's
Yeah.
definitely not my preference. Maybe super tip as a quick one. Thank you for the five
I
gifted
think
subs, Farron. Holy shit.
I think it's from um, Kamsa thickness to super tip thickness. Uh, Starting from emboss, I start to hate it. Start to I start hating the diameter. It start to be too big for my fingers, and I can't find the correct weight distribution.
Oh, I actually understand that. I could see that actually. That's actually why still don't have my own personal emboss because I can't figure it out. I, I actually get that. That's crazy. Huh.
Because if I want to get a good weight distribution, I have to make the weight like maybe 25,
Yeah. Wait, 25?
20, 20,
23.
25.
I
Right?
typically go 23.
It's too much for my fingers. I think it's better to make a emboss personal emboss mode with the all caps.
With the old ones? Like these ones?
This one, yes. Yeah, yeah. I made one with this one, with these caps, and they are. I think it's kind of better too because from the shape of this cap, you can get more weight on each end. So it's basically better, I think. But if you just use two embosses barrel, like a VGP or emboss, I think it's more complex, more difficult to get a nice paint. I try everything. I try KZZ in embosses, um, fly fly emboss. The fly emboss is too light. KZZ is too much heavy. I think I like Xafude. Xafude is great, but too much Xafuri has a very, very interesting waste distribution. It's too much heavy for me. Very complex system, yeah.
I think there was a really good question that I remember seeing. Let me tab into the question. I didn't have it written down actually. Pre Q&A. Oh yeah, this is from. I still feel like I don't know how to pronounce Eux's pen store, right?
Yeah.
Do you spin your like the mods like when you're making them?
Yeah.
Cuz I feel like what happens if you use your prime sub, I'll thank you for it. um I feel like I'm always actively spinning like unmodded pens, like something like this. This is like a weird
Yeah.
idea that I've gotten thanks to Gunter. Um I don't know, why is it not showing up so well? There we go.
Oh yeah.
Thank you for the prime sub. You really didn't have to. I've been spinning just this for a while just to get a feel of like what length I want it to be for maybe just me, but I would hope someone might be interested in this mod, and if they did buy it, I would hope that they like it for sure.
Yeah, I do spin my mod before sending them. I think I spin maybe between 30 minutes and 1 hour to make sure this is what they want. Mostly for commission pen mods. And I think it's very important for pen modder to be polyvalent in spinning, be able to know how to make palm spin, spider spin, and some
More advanced tricks.
yeah, because you can know, like if super weight ask you how to make a pen mod for him, you know what to do. If a Manoa wants to make a pen mod for him, you know what to do.
Oh yeah.
This kind of stuff. I think is very important. You don't really need to know how to make a freestyle like them, but then you have to know how to make like one or two trick from what they are able to do. I think it's only if you know how to use your gear, you can know how to make it to so your gear can be very good. But if you don't know how to use it, you will never be able to know how to make it perfectly. I think this is the first advice, the first lesson a pen modder have to know. Don't stop spinning. Just keep keep learning. It's very important for your making, I think.
I agree with that. It's even if you find yourself like when you're just like sick of spinning, which is fine. I never try to force myself to do anything. Like this actually might come out as a really weird surprise for like probably everyone right now, but even I'm in kind of like really burnt out for like making buns. So there is a slight chance where I might be inactive for a little while. I'll still hang out on Discord, but I don't know if I'll be able to make anything creative for a while. It's really hard. I feel like I don't know. Do you feel like it's really hard to be creative, like when you're kind of like if someone commissions you to be creative, like and you're kind of forced to? Do you feel like that's kind of hard, where like they let
For
you make whatever you want?
you mean for making pens?
Yeah,
Mm,
because I've had people come to me and say, "This is the weight I like. This is the length. You can make whatever you want," and it stresses me out as much as like I know they're okay with how long it's going to take because I warned them ahead of time. But it's really hard on me.
you mean for doing freestyle.
Just like a custom mod, just like anything,
Ah,
just
ah,
like theory, like a theory craft mod, or like when you made mods for like the collab for like Manoa's mod, like this one,
I,
like
for this one, I just got the idea very, very quickly. So I just try to remember which kind of pen mod he did before, so I can be, since his modding personality is very strong. I could know very quickly which kind of pen mod I have to make.
okay. I think mine was, I don't know. That's a hard one. What about one you were thinking about S777's mod? Because I remember reading in the blog that you had a hard time with that one, right?
Sorry?
For
Can
S777's Gold
yeah,
G3. How was that?
yeah. He just requested Gordon G3, and I just try to, since I told you I'm very bad at making single cap, so I was looking for all these three. I can find the stuff in gold. So it's basically this is kind of a beige G3. I just changed some stuff, but it's basically a beige G3 with all the gold stuff.
Let's see.
I think it was very hard. The most hard pen mod I made for this collaboration was for Pim, because
Wait,
he just
for
said, "Oh,
Spinner Beam?
yeah."
Uh huh.
He just said, "I want something heavy and long," and this is the hardest thing if you want to be creative, because there's too much possibilities.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So you just try idea, you try to take your stuff and try some combination of stuff and pray to find a good waste distribution, and let's go. Yeah.
Oh, Swap is asking, how does Manoa feel about the mod you made for him for the collab?
Mm,
I mean,
he's not very
I'll
tough.
tell you personally, I like it, but I've always spawned really heavy mods because I actually kind of know Manoa, like because of Dice.
Yeah.
So
Mm,
I like it, but I couldn't tell. Yeah.
I feel I feel he's not a very talkative person, and I feel he doesn't really be with people. And I think the only thing he said about my mod is, "Wow, cool," like all the Japanese say when you make pen mods for them. They are not as talkative as us,
Yeah,
European or American people.
I I could see that
They,
actually. Wasn't it like
they,
5 years ago? It was. But I got used to Manoa's like weight, his kind of like his pen preference style in a sense, and I got used to that like a long time ago. So that's why maybe that I don't know. Maybe that's why I'm just used to heavy mods. But
mm,
um, I this isn't really a negative thing, but I feel like because the body is thickness, it makes it really easy to do tricks. So I sometimes can't tell if I'm really improving or if the mod is the reason why I can do the trick. If you know what I mean.
yeah, I agree. Mm.
Because normally I don't think I could. Yeah, I can't do like palm down ring around, but with this mod I can just do it.
Mm.
um Here's a really good one. I feel like a lot of people might sometimes, especially in our Discord, um, maybe they will like want to grow their name for like modding. Do you have any like recommendations or like things they can do for like people like when they start commissioning things, like or how to like maybe like grow their name per se?
Yeah. Mm. if you want to make commission pen mods, first thing to do is you have to make the most famous pen mods for each different kind of style. Like you take like the most famous pen spinner and try to make all their personal modes, so you can make categories for each pen mode, like Menoas 1, Super 8, Spinner Pin, Golden Skate, some Japanese, and you will understand that each style have their own specification of pen modes, and then you have to keep training your spinning to really feel yourself over this. So you can make a kind of library of your feeling of the pen mode, and the theory library about what you discovered from the personal pen mode of the other people. And then from this, when someone comes to you and want to commission pen mode, you just have to say, oh, okay, so you have to give me the length of your pen mode you want, the weight distribution, which kind of tips, inverted or normal, thickness of the barrel, do you want the caps, which kind of grip you like, the length of the grip, and you just ask them, all the categories you already know. And from this, you either get inspiration from the pen mod you made, like what I did with Golden Skate. I made a hybrid with Even mode and Menoas mode. Or you just try to invent from what you have as stuff. And I can take this one as an inspiration, as example. I think that's all. But I think it's very important to create categories of pen mode and understand this one can make power trick, and this one you can make hard trick, this one finger scores, and this one spider spin, and etc. and so on, etc.
That makes sense. I never thought about it like that, I guess. One, if I were to answer the question maybe for me, it's always mainly just communication. Just making sure. I think my favorite thing to ask is like, what mods do they normally spin? Because if they tell me that they like to spin a Buster, like, I can theory craft a mod for them really easily. But if they tell me they like something like Watto's G3, I'm gonna take forever because there's a different
Yeah, it is
style.
very important. You have
Yeah,
to ask which kind of pen mod they use, what is their main pen mods, so you can get the first inspiration.
yeah,
Yeah, it's very important, super important.
yeah. But modding a lot really helps with experience. It's not even just like cutting like perfectly. That will come in time, and it does cost a lot of time and money. But that's kind of the price you have to pay for. I don't know if you agree, but for liking a hobby, but
Yeah.
you learn a lot the more you do, the more you mod. Oh, RPD asks, what's the worst and best mod designs in terms of just construction and quality? That was one of the notes. I don't know. Huh.
So worst design.
Worst
Mm,
designs in terms of construction quality, like how well it's made. I don't know. I might not own too many of those. Actually, I kind of don't like Firefly's G3, like the original construction.
yeah.
I feel like I've had multiple times where the gripmatic tip has just flown off, and it's a really sensitive pen, And if I'm gonna be fully honest, the pen kind of spins like crap.
Yeah. Mm,
Maybe that's one for me.
you mean a personal creation or just
I
like
think you could.
someone
I think
created
you
it?
could do both.
I think the worst is Firefly Z3.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the structure, I think this one, only this one.
Yeah. I can't personally say that I'm aware of any other one, but I am sure there is another one that exists. Is there a tutorial to pull a G3 grip? I think I could probably demo this really quick. Let me pull out a question before I run it. What's a quick question? Um, oh, Munch asks that when was your turning point from like you realized you were like starting to really improve like in modding? Like I don't know. I guess you could maybe ask like what year or maybe like I don't know. I feel like it was at the end of high school for me.
Hmm.
Maybe even a little bit before that. For like time wise, I would say time wise for that.
I think when I start do this after high school because I got my own car and I could buy all the pen I wanted and I could get a lot of freedom about what I wanted to make.
Yeah, definitely when you have a job, it really helps. That too.
Yeah, yeah,
But I was really fortunate at the time because some people might have known that I actually competed and for Halo, so there was that. Um, and my parents have always like had their own business, so they would make me work and I'd get money on the side. So it was around the same time for between me and him. Um, for the G3, I feel like this is really important. This is also important for like Signal Broad to run through. I feel like a lot of people always ask like what's the best way to pull a grip off? And if I'm being fully honest, there isn't, but I don't agree with people that typically say that you need to use. I don't know if you agree. When people tell you that you need tweezers to pull off a grip, I kind of don't like it. My reasoning is because you're using metal to scratch the body and it might rip the grip or it might like
yeah.
make dents.
Mm.
That's my reasoning. I don't know if you agree.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I prefer to break the front with a plier and just press like this
Yeah. I don't know. This is
and
how
just
I would do it.
brush everything. And then with this kind of glove, I just have to pull
Yeah.
out.
I think the biggest thing that'll help you start off when doing these kind of grips is if you have like nails are pretty important to modding. You don't have to have excessively long nails like mine. Like mine are a little intense, but I like
Yeah.
to just go underneath the grip with my nail and it like
Yeah, I use
slides
it
in.
like
Like you see how it like wants to it's peeling up and I'm
yeah, yeah.
not damaging the grip and then I'll slowly dig my nail in and wrap it around a couple times and then I'll repeat that on this side, and I make sure I try not to make any indents. If you just keep a circular motion and you keep like rotating it, it will just come like go in eventually. And then I do that, and then for me, if I'm not trying to have any nail marks, then I have a different method. But I just do it like this.
Mm.
I tend to like to keep the tip on because it has you can remove the tip and you can pull it out at the same time.
Yeah.
But once it gets to here where like the front part has already lifted up,
Mm.
um
Yeah.
it's just the same way. It's just a crap ton of like twisting and pulling and I could probably pull this grip off in like the next few minutes while we're like talking, and I don't know. There's really no other way that I could describe it. But always grab it from the top of like the square because you want to hold this because that's the main part that needs to be coming out. This part is already loosening up. So when you twist, you're twisting the top part because that's what's stuck. I don't know if that makes more sense. That's like how I would describe it. But yeah, once I hit this point, like I can, since the tip is screwed on, I just unscrew the tip. And I'm done. Like I don't struggle too bad with it. But I'll definitely shrink this with an RSVP cap afterwards, for sure. So I don't know if that helps. If anyone has like cutting questions, sanding questions, like totally like feel free. Like if there's something that maybe even you're struggling personally with, that's kind of a little bit the point of the Q&A. So like, so I know I have a list, and I know most of you know that I have a list. Like, but definitely don't be shy. Feel free to ask away. Like even if it's something simple. Like there are no dumb questions like at all. Um. Oh, someone's. Oh, I can't. Jingaby says, "What's the hardest mod you've ever modded?"
Hmm. The hardest mod I
Yeah.
made.
Yeah.
For a while, it was manual emboss
Oh,
because it
really?
was really hard to put the super great grip on the tip stack.
I think I might have answered mine earlier. It's definitely like it's the Cipher mod and the Chimera mod.
Yeah.
It was just like so much. Do you sandpaper things with a single grit or multiple? I never understood how sanding works. Perfect timing because I did this on purpose earlier. Hopefully you don't have to listen to the horrifying sound of me sanding for too long. But for one, yes, I do use multiple grit. I don't know. Do you use multiple grit? Like
I use
different.
maybe it's 7 maybe.
But use 7 different ones.
Yeah, I start with 200 and 500, 1000, 1500 to 2000, 3000, 5000, 7000, and sometimes I finish with some white paper, like I told you on
Yeah.
Instagram
Yeah.
earlier.
So hopefully this might give you a good idea of how rough this is. I actually cut. If people were like part way on the stream, I was cutting this because I knew someone might ask something about sanding, so I did this on purpose ahead of time. I'm not. It depends. I typically feel like I can go from 400 to 1,500 to 1,000. Or wait, no, it's 1,000 and then 1,500 and then 2,000. That's my method, and then paper. I actually learned the paper method from some people might. Most people probably know him as Paisley, but I think me and VORE-TEX know him more as Coda. So wet dry. I'll continue sanding, and you can just watch. As if there's any other questions, but yes, I do wet sand in between. You'll see. Um,
I really advise you to sand and with a circle like this, so you can make very flat.
wait, with a what?
Like you sand and you make a circle instead of straight.
Really? Huh.
Yeah.
It's a little. Oh, I guess once you get started. I've never
Yeah,
tried
but
circular.
should be better and more more clean.
I've always done like this because you know how I can keep track of like the direction, but the circular one makes sense too. I do it like that because it's like the starting grit, but sometimes I
Mm.
actually will sand like this. I don't know if this is like this too,
Ah,
where
yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
just where I'm just holding it like this. It the consistency of this is like super strong. Just make sure your finger isn't touching the edges of the body. Use the circle one too. Yeah. I do that sometimes. I do a bit of everything, but I feel like I can preserve the sandpaper more when I don't know. I've never used the circular one. It might be a good idea for me.
When the grid is very big, I use dry sanding, and when it's a little bit thinner, like maybe from 1000, I start to use weight. There is a question on chat about this.
Wait, which one?
Weight or dry sanding from Wish.
Mm, wait, wet or dry? Oh, wet
Yeah.
or dry? Oh yeah, I told them that I do wet sand, and then I would show them because this is like 400 grit. So the point of like 400 grit is like it's to get rid of most of like the excess and to get to like this something as smooth as this ahead of time. So when I use 400, it's more for getting down to the section that I want or where it feels more flattened out because right now there's still a little bit on the top that's like not cleaned out there, but it'll get there. Um, I think there was another question on
Yeah.
Discord. Oh yeah, there we go. Like now we're at the point where this is doable. Like I would go down a grit in like probably a handful more. Yeah. So this is 400 grit. Um, this is 15, and I'm weird when I use 15. So when I do 15, I'll dry and then I'll wet 15. Like you can you might be able to tell if there's some watermarks here and there. But I definitely try to use different spots of like the sandpaper. Oh yeah, this is gonna sound horrible. I'm gonna mute myself really quick, and then let's see if we can grab a question so we can move this along part way. But you can watch in between. I know there was a really good question that I remember seeing a little bit. Has anyone? Oh, not that one. Oh, do you try to you know how any balls have like the certain bumps that like there's like kind of a ring in the middle,
Yeah.
like in between. Do you try to cut that away?
For what?
Like here, let me grab one. Whoops. You know, like in between, like the line. I
Yeah.
try to cut. I can actually cut the line.
Okay.
Like if you grab an any ball grip and then
Yeah.
if you cut it like bad,
Yeah.
you can still see the line from like the middle in between here.
Yeah.
I actually have a method to cut that. I don't know if you do or
Mm,
if you even care cutting that. I know some people just don't care.
I don't really care about this.
I do it because it makes it look cleaner. Because when a pen gets older and the grip
Yeah,
starts to gather more dirt, especially any balls,
yeah.
um, it's kind. I don't know if you've noticed, like it stretches the grip out, or it
Mm.
makes it look more worn, like just used up, and it will stretch out sometimes if it's like on the inside of like let me see if I can get an example. I don't have an example because like mine's cut right. Like
Yeah.
it can stretch and it will peel down towards the body. So I
Mm.
I cut it personally, and it's more expensive to do it that way, but I mean I do it, and my method is I always use a new um X-Acto knife blade every time. And the reason for it is because using a new one, if you know how much pressure to put onto the grip of any grip you cut, as long as it's consistent and you keep rolling,
Yeah.
it will cut really naturally. And kind of I understood the concept, but watching Coda do it at his house made it even more helpful because I watched him cut like a few of the things when we're like at his place. But um I could probably cut a Dr. Grip on camera in between to try to help, but if you're trying to get a clean cuts, my biggest suggestion if you're trying to get like a clean straight cut, even if for any balls or just learning how to cut in general, even if you tape up a body, is a posture. And always, it requires way more strength to do it like this. um I never cut back and forth because when you dig back and forth for a perfect cut, like if it's for to shorten an emboss so you can use it on different side or something for whatever reason, when you cut back and forth you can create inconsistency and it might dig left and right because it has less of a control. So when you are using a exact same amount of force to pressure down on the body and you roll with good posture, I'm pulling my arm back like this and I'm following like slowly, you will have a very consistent cut. And that's why you might have saw how fast I was able to sand this down, because
Mm.
the more perfect you cut it, the less you have to sand.
Yeah.
So that's my technique if anyone's curious. Oh crap.
Oh.
Oh, let's see. I don't think I've Yeah, this one's a quick one too. I don't think no, actually I've been scammed once. Just once. Have you ever been scammed?
Yes. Once too. It was at my very beginning. I think it was my first international trade. I had to trade with a Spanish guy, and I had to send him, the pen mawashi, industrial pen mod. Very very old, maybe 15 years old.
Oh yeah, the orange and black one, right?
Uh, and he asked me this, and he say, "Oh, I will send you a Miffy KT, a Bankura KT, white KT."
And he never mailed it. What was
He
mine?
never made it, and we just found out some months later he was a scam.
Oh god, that's horrible. Yeah,
It was fine because this pen Mawashi pen was just, I think it was like a freebie in an order I got from a HPSB seller, so I was not so much shocked.
it's
I was,
still a collectible, but it's a shame that it happens for sure.
what about you?
Um, I think mine was when it was also international actually. I want to say it was from Poland.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was from Poland. He was gonna mail me bell colors, and I know mine got delivered because like when you mail internationally, at least for the U.S., you have it always comes with a tracking number. It's not the best tracking number, but it always comes with one. And he ended up actually trying to blame it back to me and said I scammed him, and I was like, "What?" I was like, "No, that's not how this works." So that was weird. Um,
Yeah.
it wasn't a big trade. He just wanted RSVPs. It was like a really casual thing
Yeah.
for me, but for sure not something that I was like happy about. But it was only once, so. But yeah, I go from wet to dry, because when you wet something, it makes the I don't know the statistical like scientific thing behind it per se. I think it makes it more fine, or maybe it has more consistency. I don't like I said I don't know the science behind it, but
Yeah.
I'll go from 1500 wet or dry, and then quickly shortly after to wet, and then 2000 dry, just to buffer it quick, and then wet, and then I haven't even used paper yet, but you might be able to. Let's see.
I think from maybe
Like you can kind of
on
tell.
on
I thought the purpose of wet sanding was to prevent particles from spraying so you don't breathe them in. I mean, I don't think you would breathe in a. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have any feelings about that. I don't think that's actually. That might be true in terms of like construction, like big construction, not like maybe not in pens. But the reason why we sand is because when so I'm gonna use like this as my NS emboss connector, like just the small cap. Um, this will be in the middle, right? Because this is gonna be the connecting piece. This side's cut, and if it doesn't get sanded, it's really annoying when I'm spinning it, and you can feel it in the middle. So when you sand it, you smooth it out. So especially when you're doing commissions, like it has that clean, like slick feel, and then there's just like no plastic that's like hanging, like there's just like shaves of plastic. I don't know if you know what I mean, but that's why I sand. I'm sure that's probably why every modder sands primarily, and
yeah.
then for the cleanliness too. So it's a little bit of all, everything, but definitely not because we would breathe in some plastic. um
I think once you use 1000 grit, you can use sandpaper, you can use white paper and rub it, so you can get a very bright surface.
this one might come as a surprise to some people, but um using different kinds of paper, like this paper is a bit more shiny, like you can kind
Yeah,
of see it. If you use like more shiny paper,
and you have to push very hard, very the hardest as you can, and you have to make circle.
it kind of wants to show up,
Yeah, yeah, it's better. Yeah, yeah, good, good.
but I have to find a different piece of paper actually. So I have some downstairs, but he's right. The you pretty much have to do it for a good while, not like forever, but you can make it look like it's like I put in the I posted videos in the Discord about it, like how it was a joke when I put how men sand. but like how it looks factory cut. That's more of when you get to this kind of level of modding for cleaning, I feel like it's more for a perfectionist thing, and also to prove that like your effort to making a mod is like worth the money when someone buys it. So that's why I go to this. I don't know if you go to that extent, but yeah, I do this as a normal basis for any of my commissions. Um, oh, this one's a good one. Do you see any differences in the way people mod or trade in different boards?
Very hard to reply because trading is kind of dead since maybe 10 years. Um,
Yeah,
I
a
feel
lot has changed. A lot has changed.
people prefer buying on internet because it's cheaper. I agree. I do it too. And I don't see so much trade these years, so I can't really tell. I think the trade is very dead.
I
Um,
feel like trading is very, and this isn't like meant to say like it's just people who have a lot. Like when I if I'm trading with VORE-TEX, it might be because like this might not be the best example because Reynolds caps were more common in France, whereas like I don't know when Pro Gears came out, I could have used like maybe some Reynolds caps, and it was easier for him to collect more, and it would give him a reason to trade with me. And then we have extra stuff on the side, so it helps move a trade along. Because like if he needs like Dr. Grip tips, of course I have some, or like tech tips, like I have some, of course. Or like if I needed like an embossed body, which from our recent trade, like he has a few. Like
yeah,
the more you have, the more easy it is to trade with higher tier people in a sense. This is how I
yeah,
feel. So collecting is it's like a fine wine. The more you put money and time into spinning and modding, the better it gets. You just have to put yourself out there because I feel like a lot of people I kind of just came in and people just kind of knew I had a ton of pens after a while, but it helps for sure. The more time you spend in it.
not true. Mm.
Oh, there's this one. What changes would you like to see modding and in modding and the pen spinning community undergo, and how would you want it to advance? I have a pretty easy answer, personally.
Uh, I have no idea.
I would want it to be more like.
Let you reply. I don't know.
Wait, one more time. I'm sorry.
I let you reply. I don't know to answer the
Oh, okay.
question.
I would like it to be more open, where things aren't so confusing, and I know that and like everyone else probably knows that there are other discords where there's like literally a shit posting tab, and I feel like I get it. Like when you're young, you might have just getting it out there on the internet is nice, but like when the more you grow up, you realize like it's really unnecessary, and it's not that it's just unnecessary. I feel like because a shit posting tab exists, it you're already creating a negative aura for other people when they join the community, and it just doesn't feel very welcoming in a sense, especially towards beginners, especially when we say I don't know, SC or DC, when people don't spell things out, it gets really
Yeah,
confusing because if someone says they don't know what something means, trust me, you didn't know what it meant either, and just being nice and helpful is something I would want to see like improve in the future, where because I was in like at the time when it was a little bit
Mm.
significantly more nice, I would say, when Cam was still like fairly active. But definitely, that's definitely my one of my biggest wishes. Modding
Yeah,
wise,
I agree.
creativity
People
is
are
creativity.
very. I agree. People are very aggressive towards beginners. They don't want to take a passion to explain them. We have a very strict rules in our community, and we don't want to. I feel we don't want to change for them, and
Yeah,
I feel that's why people don't stay in the community because it's a very hard hobby, and the members of the community are not very helping the people staying in the community. I feel, yeah.
yeah. Um, for both of us, what do you do if you want to find a rare pen? I call up my Jeb friends. Honestly, I have a list of people I could probably go down. Uh, I'm not too keen on rare pens, as this might actually come off as a weird surprise for a lot of you because it seems like I'm posting a bunch of pens all the time. Because I know I'm a modder. I only have two hands, and when I spin something like a watercolor, when I spin this and the text goes away, I devalue this pen,
Yeah.
and the its worth goes down, and it's like I own the mod just to say I own the mod, and I feel like it's really redundant. So when I was gifted one of my watercolors by a really close Jeb friend, oh sorry, um without the text, like I'm never gonna sell this, or and I'm never gonna give it away, but it's it's very special and unique at the same time when you get rare pens for sure. I don't know what your opinion is on that.
Yeah, I agree. I think most of the rare pens are from Japan.
Yeah.
And yeah, you just go to ask some of your Japanese friends and ask. Yeah, but I think it's not very important to get a rare pen.
Yeah, it's definitely not at all. I think it's if someone wanted a sevens watercolor, which I of course I'm holding as an example, it's because you like the spinner, or just because I've said this in the past, just because it's rare and you know it's rare,
Mm.
it makes you want to get it because it's rare, and it's because of like how you envision that to be, and you want to have rare things. So if you can get that over your head, like you might accept using maybe like a super tip as the body instead of like a watercolor body. It is cool to have one, but it's definitely not necessary.
Yeah, I agree.
He says, speaking of the community, somewhat unwelcoming. Do you think there is some sort of elitism in the community? Oh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I want to say more for spinning, not so much for modding.
Mm.
I don't know if you agree. I don't know. I haven't. I don't talk a lot. This might be a question more for you.
Mm. I'm thinking. Wait a minute. Yeah, yeah. I think even for pen modding, I feel we are very elitist, elitist about like when a guy made I don't know Kuzu's history mode,
Hmm.
and he didn't use the correct cap, but he used the name he made Kuzu G3, and people will say, oh no, it's not a Kuzu G3 because he didn't use the correct cap, and
Ah,
I feel this very unwelcoming from people. I feel they are too much strict. Like these pen mods have to be made like this, but not like this. You can't name a pen mod like this if you didn't follow the correct tutorial.
Yeah, the original tutorial. I think I might be guilty of that. I do make fun of people. I don't really like if I do, I don't mean it as in like to be rude. It's I'm kind of just poking at you. I know I'm guilty of that. If I'm and I'm not even gonna lie about that actually. Um, I never noticed that. That's a good point. I should probably be more aware of that actually. I'm glad you brought it up. Let's see what time it is. Holy crap. It's been like what? Almost 2 hours? I don't want to take up too much of your time. We do have another one later on today with 50 snakes. There is the time posted. I can grab it really quick for everyone to know. Let me look. I forgot the time myself. I have so many other things to do. I had to help out my parents today, so let me look. 50 Snakes is going to be from 9 p.m. Eastern to 10 p.m. Eastern, so I don't. I won't. I'll be on time for that. Hopefully, we don't go too much over time, but I'm glad everyone that is here participated. Thank you, Farron, for the gifted subs. Thank you, everyone that gifted a sub or subscribed to my channel today. I hope you guys learned a lot. This VOD will be uploaded to VORE-TEX's channel. Let me do a quick thing.
Yeah.
A major shout out to, of course, VORE-TEX. Here's all of his social media. Holy crap, that posted wrong. You can click on each link, it still works. And then if you want to hunt me down specifically, of course, feel free. There's a bunch of messed up links. Unfortunately, it's a little messy, but either way, I hope everyone learned a lot.
Oh, no,
Thank you
fine.
for participating.
Thank you for organizing this stream podcast.
Yeah. I'll make the highlight for you and then I'll DM you about it. Okay, you guys have a lovely day. Again, thank you everyone. Okay. See you guys next time.
Yeah.
Boop.